9 of the Small Business Big Presence Show. We are your hosts, Madison Black
and Rory Manitoga.
And today we're going to be talking about why a focus on page likes could be setting you up for a fall, and why raving fans rule them all. I love a little bit of rhyming.
Mirror, mirror on the wall.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, because it's all about vanity.
Exactly. At the end of the day, that's where we came from. Got the title, vanity metric.
Vanity metric.
Very much so, the likes. But let's dive into it, Maddie. When we're looking at likes, what are we comparing it against? Or how do we want people engaging or connecting initially with our page?
Well, we want them to like our page or follow our page. And I think it's really important that we get clear on what the difference between a like and a follow is, because you can be both of a page, you can be one of a page, and we really want to be kind of getting people to be both. So first and foremost, a like basically means that someone has put their hand up and said, I like this page and I want to get more information from them. Now, when someone first and foremost hits that little like button on the top of your page, they're actually going to be automatically liked to your page, as well as they're going to be automatically added to your followers list. And the followers is actually, I think, the more important. Do you want to explain why?
So followers are the number of followers is what you should be focusing on, because the followers are actually getting this in your newsfeed. Whereas people can like the page, they can either like the page and then down the track not follow because the content's just not vibing with them, they're not part of your ideal community, or they can just like the page without following it as well. If they just want to give you a little chest bump to support you, but they don't necessarily want to engage with your content.
Absolutely. So it really is important. Yes, when someone first likes your page, they are automatically added to your followers, which means that you will be showing up in their newsfeed, at least in the beginning. And this is something that's important to remember. I know, as we've spoken about before, I have a highly curated newsfeed of my own. I'm an unfollowing muster. I go and unfollow anyone that doesn't bring me joy, to quote Marie Kondo. But it's really important. So something that I can see all the time is that when I add a new friend, for instance, or I newly like a page, they will serve that content into my newsfeed from the very beginning, because Facebook is thinking, okay, well, this person's just gone and liked that page, so
taking action.
We're gonna put that stuff in front of them because they obviously want to know about it. But it's kind of a test period where if that content isn't engaged with, they're going to slowly start removing it more and more from the newsfeed until such time as you may still be following them, but you're not going to see a lot of that page if you haven't really engaged. So as a page owner or administrator, it's really important to think about those initial first couple of, well, obviously you can't be planning posts.
When they...
Like an email campaign.
Yeah, it's not like a sequence of posts.
No, but it just means you always have to have valuable stuff up there. You can't just go, I'm going to post valuable stuff on Sundays and then, for the rest of the week it's whatever. It does need to be, really high value content all the time. But it is also important to realise that with the followers number on your page, sometimes it can be a little bit confusing when that number is higher than the likes, but that's actually a good thing.
Yeah.
And something that I think contributes to this is some people will choose to just follow a page and not necessarily like it. I'm not totally sure what the rationale behind that would be. Maybe it's just that you don't want to be associated with that page. It's not going to show up in your likes on your personal profile if you haven't liked the page, but you could still be getting their content. But the other thing that I've noticed is that if another page likes your page, which you can do, then they won't actually show up as a like, they will only show up as a follower.
Interesting.
That's what I've deducted. I don't know if it's 100% true, so don't quote me on it. But what you do want to be looking for is that followers number to be remaining the same, if not higher, as the number of likes, because that's really where the sweet spot is.
Yeah, and it's a good metric to just check in periodically, though it is a vanity metric. But if your followers are dropping compared to your likes, that's giving you feedback as to where your content's at. Either they're not part of the ideal client avatar, client community, or your content's just not hitting the spot for them.
Absolutely. And let's talk about why it is a vanity metric as well, because the truth is that a lot of people say, oh, don't chase likes, it's just vanity. But why is that? The reason is Facebook, it has, as we've talked about many, many times, Facebook are valuing engagement over anything else on the platform at the moment. That was part of what happened with the algorithm change earlier in the year, and that is what they want to be seeing across all versions of how you can be on Facebook, whether it be your personal profile, a group, or a page. They want to be seeing engagement, which boils down to reactions, comments, and shares. Comments being the most valuable of all. So if you have lots of likes on your page, and we're going to talk about how there's really bad ways to go and get likes, and we've seen this happen so many times. But if you've gone and got a whole heap of likes of people who aren't really in your ideal customer audience, then you could be really damaging your page, because Facebook's just not going to serve it up to those people, because they're never really going to be engaged with what you have going on.
Yeah, exactly. Again, it's diluting your engagement potentially if it's just getting vanity likes as opposed to good quality leads. I think
Absolutely.
that's the big differentiation. Do you want leads or do you want likes?
Yes, and you really want to be tracking that by what number you're getting for your reach and what number you're getting for your engagement. They're the two that I would really be tracking, far and above likes and followers.
Yeah. So Maddie, I have a question for you for the next section. Does size really matter?
No. Well, let's get some clarification. So, firstly, size of what?
Size of your Facebook likes and or followers.
I'm going to say yes, but it's not a straight yes. It comes with a little extra. So, firstly, your likes, the number of likes you have only matter if that engagement and reach numbers are correlating with them. So if you've got a really high number of likes, but you've got next to no engagement and reach, you've probably got a whole heap of non-raving fans following your page, and it could be time to clean house.
I think it's quantity over quality at the end of the day. Comes back to that.
Quality over quantity is what you mean to say.
Yes.
Yes. You want quality followers following your page as opposed to just anyone and everyone. That's really important to remember. And so how do we get to quality versus just a quantity? Well, I think the first point of call, and we say this time and time again, and you will have no doubt heard it from lots of other people, you need to know who your ideal customer is. You need to get really clear on how they show up on Facebook, why they show up on Facebook, why they're in tune with your business, what kind of things they're looking for in life, in lots of different ways.
Yeah. And the more you can define and get deeper insights, deeper ideas of where their attention is, whether they want to be entertained, distracted, informed, that will help you define what quality is, and then put out content to attract and nurture these ideal clients.
Absolutely. And I think part of the way that you kind of screw into exactly who those people are is by defining your customer journey and the offers that you are offering as part of your business. So if you are offering, if you're a brick and mortar business and you have, we always use hairdressers. Hairdressers are an easy one. So they've got a whole suite of services that they offer in store, but not every service is going to suit every type of customer. And that's something that's really important to remember. And that, once you understand what offers you have, you also then need to think about, okay, well, per offer or per kind of section of offers, who am I speaking to about these? So let's talk about hairdressers. We've got hair extensions, for example, which are, the make your hair longer thing for anyone who's not familiar with them. That's a very expensive service, and it's for people who it's going to be suiting a very different audience to the people who are coming in for a trim or perhaps an eyebrow wax or something like that is very low cost, more regular, but it's not the kind of investment that really warrants a lot more decision making and that kind of thing that will happen with hair extensions. So if you are on your page talking about hair extensions all the time, you're going to be talking to a very different audience, or a person who's on a very different part of the customer journey with your business than someone who's maybe just coming in for a $12 trim.
Yeah, exactly. And with that customer journey as well, that can be a segmentation of your ideal client as well. So you can have like a broad scope for who you want to attract to your business, but you can dig down even further, for example, in the hairdresser with, say, hair extensions compared to the eyebrow pluck, wax, whatever it is. Yeah, so you can break your ideal client into different segments or different groups as well.
And we highly recommend that you do that. And it's not to say that your page can only cater to one, but it does mean that the posts that you are putting out that are going to be attracting new audiences as well need to have that segment in mind when it's created. And you might find over time, as you're evaluating your page, that you have more of one type style of audience than the other, and it's just always going to inform your strategy as to why you're posting, when you're posting, how you're posting, and what you're posting.
Yeah, exactly. So you heard it here first. Size does matter.
Size does matter. Okay, and so let's talk about how we grow our Facebook likes and followers. The smart way, the right way. But I'm actually going to talk about the wrong way first.
It's very easy to boil down what's right to do by just crossing off the crazies.
Absolutely. And the one that I hear time and time again, and the pages that you can see have used this tactic are the ones with these huge numbers and no one who's commenting. And I'm talking like huge numbers, not like a couple of thousand, like I'm talking tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions, yeah. These are the pages that have spent money running ads for likes. And this was a big strategy that I feel people really started to use. Maybe when ads kind of were a bit newer, there weren't as many ad managers around, there wasn't really strategies developed as much around how to use ads effectively, or they were just people who were running ads for themselves and didn't really understand why they were doing it.
Yeah.
And there are strategies out there that will throw likes to your page like it's no one's business. But it is one of the worst ways to grow your page.
Yeah, the return on investment, the direct return on investment is non-existent because there's nothing on the other side of that like to convert straight away and self-liquidate the ad. And
that's what makes it such a vanity metric. And because the truth is, running some of those like campaigns when you're running Facebook ads, from an ROI perspective, can look like they're doing really well. Like you could be getting likes for really cheap, like cents.
Conversions in the ad manager, yeah.
Absolutely. So it looks like, oh, look at that ROI through the roof. Like 10xing my ad spend or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But like to your point, long-term value (LTV) of that person that you've attracted is actually next to non-existent. Like
you're lucky if you break even with those 1% conversion if they spend more than 1 cent.
Extremely lucky. Because Facebook and the way that these campaigns run, without going into too much detail, is kind of like a widespread approach where it's like, we're just going to throw this particular post that you've boosted in front of as many people that are similar to your audience, because a lot of people run them as lookalike campaigns, but it's not targeted enough, it's not specific, and so you get these huge like numbers, and that is so damaging on your page later when you actually start to want to run real ads because those people don't care. They just like that one post, they don't really have any connection to your business. And then organic reach is also down because, again, your page is going to be getting, on average at the moment, what I'm seeing is about 0.5% of the people who see, who follow your page are actually seeing your posts because of the way the algorithm has changed. And because a lot of people don't know how to talk the algorithm language. So when you're already dealing with such low numbers and then you have this huge audience of people who don't care, Facebook's going to go, oh, well, this page doesn't know what it's doing, and it's going to drop that number lower than 0.5%.
Yeah, exactly. Diluting your engagement.
Absolutely. So please don't run ads for likes. It's a total vanity. And a small page with highly engaged fans is so much more valuable to your business than any page with large numbers of people who don't care.
Exactly.
Is going to be
quality over quantity.
Absolutely.
Got it right that time.
Now, what's the other thing that we see a lot of happening?
So a lot of the happening is getting friends and family to like your page.
Which is a big strategy early on, and if you're just starting up a page.
It's trying to tap into that sort of sheep factor where you see other people doing it, you see that there's lots of likes there, you're more likely to jump on board. And while it's a good strategy in principle, in effect, it isn't quite as effective as it would need to be.
No, and again, it's because your friends and family are not likely to be your ideal customer most of the time. They're your friends, they're supporting you, and so they might throw a like and unfollow the page. But again, that's showing Facebook because they're not really going to engage with the post. They've just thrown you a like to be helpful. If they're not engaging with the post, and engagement is what Facebook wants your page to be generating, then they're kind of making Facebook say, oh, well, the people who've liked this page don't really care about what they're posting, so we're going to stop putting that page's content into other people's news feeds. It's the last thing you want to have happen, especially when you do start generating new likes and people who are actually in your ideal audience. So be really mindful that while it may feel a bit scary in the beginning when you do have those really low page likes, you do definitely want to still not be relying on friends and family to make up those numbers, but actually be going and generating them organically.
And so what are some of the strategies that you can do to generate these likes and follows?
There's so many cool things that you can do to direct people to Facebook. And in fact, I'm kicking myself that on the weekend I saw a business doing it and I was like, damn it, I wanted to take a picture and put it on our thing. But anyway. So the first thing that I say, there's so many different ways. And like the first thing is, depending on what kind of business that you have, if you're a brick and mortar, I'm saying in-store, throw your page and suggestions to follow your page, or even incentives to follow your page up in as many places as you can. I've seen a lot of businesses who do have that brick and mortar presence do it really well, where they'll kind of say, oh, get the first drink for free on us if you like our page, or discounts or things like that. And it's not to say that you have to lose out on inventory or money, but you can be clever with the way that in-store you direct people to your online presence, because when they're not in-store, how else do you keep your business in front of mind for them?
Yeah.
Like social media is such an easy way to do that.
Exactly.
But there's a whole slew of other strategies. Especially if you're not a brick and mortar, like it doesn't need to be that you need to have a shop front. So you could be a location independent service-based business, and still there's so many strategies at your disposal. So we've got page takeovers or group takeovers.
Yeah.
So what does this look like, Ross?
So this is basically where you either arrange with another business with a similar audience, so similar target market, ideal clients. You can either swap with them, so you run the page and you have both pages run promotion to, not paid promotion of course, but they can run sort of announcements that very exciting, we have another company coming in, sharing knowledge and vice versa. Or you can just jump in, it doesn't have to be a straight swap. Only one person can do it and say, hey, that's some free, easy, time-free content for my page because you're putting it on there, and then they expect to get returned by expanding their own page as well.
Absolutely. It's a really great exchange of energy, because it's like, not only does that page owner now not have to come up with content for that week, but they're going to be getting new information in front of their audience that might have been feeling that it's been a bit stale if they're the only person who's ever generating anything. It's new information, it's re-engaging people back on the page again, because if you bring on someone new and it's like, oh, there's something new happening on this page, and then people are re-engaging, and then Facebook's noticing, and then they're throwing it in front of more people, that page is going to have, all group, is going to have its reach and engagement increase over that time. So if you have relationships with people who are in a similar audience, like we already spoke about, reach out to them and offer, would you be interested in having me come on and do some Facebook Lives? Or would you be interested in me crafting some posts and doing a bit of a takeover of your page for the week? Don't feel afraid to go and suggest those things, because it's not necessarily something that everyone is aware you can do. but is a really great way to boost your presence.
Exactly.
Now, another thing that you can be doing in groups, and this can be either on Facebook or LinkedIn, but obviously we're talking more about Facebook, is just to get really super involved. Like, be a standout community member.
Yeah, be interacting, commenting on other people's posts, putting up tips and tricks related to the content of that group. And I suppose before we dive further into that group interaction, we should have a conversation about how to choose those groups as well.
I totally agree. And I think the biggest thing, so the thing that I've heard, first and foremost, is you want to be choosing groups where your ideal customer exists. So you need to know who they are.
Yep.
You need to know what your ideal customer looks like. And then going into groups and checking out, or finding groups that they would hang out in.
Yeah, exactly. And more importantly, I think that they would engage in or be connected with.
I agree. And so the thing that I've heard suggested and that I have done in the past myself is when I'm joining a new group, the first thing I'll do is to say, okay, is the group owner or owners or administrators, are they someone that I vibe with? Because if I don't vibe with them, it's unlikely that I'm going to vibe with the people that they have attracted, because ultimately, regardless of who you are or what kind of business you run, people are buying into you. So if that group owner you don't vibe with, it's unlikely that you're going to vibe with the people that they've attracted. And then if you make an initial decision to say, yeah, I kind of vibe with what's going on with them, I do a 2-week trial where I'll go into the group, observe a little bit of the content that's happening there, might throw a few comments and maybe post a thing or two to just see how it's going. The truth is, you shouldn't base too much off whether your post gets interaction, because newbies sometimes don't get a lot of interaction. You do have to put in a bit of time.
It's the same as any community. You're new to the community, people don't know and like and trust you yet, so it's sort of like, oh, thanks for the post, but we're not going to really engage with you. We don't really know you, so... Exactly.
So it's important to do a 2-week trial, really just to ascertain if these people are engaged enough, and if the stuff that they're chasing, like what information they want from the group, is what you can provide. And then after that, it's really about kind of having a schedule by which you get in there and actually get involved. Like, we have a spreadsheet that we track all the groups that we're involved in, and we make sure that we're getting in there, and we've decided based on different groups how frequently we should be in there and what kind of content we should be delivering. And so we're really on top of making sure that we get in on the schedule that we put together.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely. I feel like it's something we could really expand out into another episode down the track.
Absolutely, I think we should.
Sort of get a bit of a guide together or something.
How to interact, absolutely. And the thing that's great about that is, something to recognise with groups is that there's often a lot of rules around not being able to promote your business, but it's not necessarily just about being able to directly say, hey, come and like my page. It's more about them seeing you as an authority in whatever space it is that you're trying to be an authority in, so that then they go searching for more ways to connect with you. So they might jump over to your profile and see that you've managed this page, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
So what else can we do, Ross?
So we can also leverage our organic content reach. So content that we're putting up on our website or on YouTube, stuff that is off Facebook, but is still getting traffic from search traffic in either Google or YouTube. They're both search engines. So that's where it comes in. Structuring your keyword, your content on your page as part of content marketing, structuring it around keywords in your industry that people will search for, and they'll click through, they'll go through your content, they'll enjoy it. If they've enjoyed it, they'll go, okay, let's jump across to Facebook, and that's where you get your likes and such across your other platforms as well.
Absolutely. And it's again about having on your website those socials really easily found and directed to. Don't be afraid in a blog post that you might have put up to direct people there for more consistent tips and tricks, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Another thing you can be doing is actually going out and finding opportunities to post on other people's blogs. And this is particularly effective in specific industries. I mean, if you're someone who's perhaps a food educator or something like that, there are so many food blogs out there that you can go and get featured on. And actually find new audience because, someone, again, very similar to the page takeover, they've built this audience up, but they're kind of tired of having to produce all the content, or they want to refresh the page or whatever, website or whatever it may be. You can be pitching people, and there are a lot of different ways that you can do that.
Yeah, exactly.
The next one.
So the next one we have is interviews. So this is interviews with ideal clients, this is interviews with other authorities in your industry. Similar sort of principle, you're leveraging other people's audiences. So this can be done across a podcast, across YouTube, and more importantly for Facebook Lives as well.
Absolutely, especially because Facebook Live is really being prioritised by Facebook in terms of its algorithm right now. So if you have a Facebook Live that generates a lot of conversation and gets a lot of comments happening live, especially if you go and find someone who has a bigger audience than you. And I say that with a caveat of, if you've only got a page with a couple of hundred people on it and you go approaching someone with tens of thousands of people, you're probably not going to be very attractive to them as a reason for them to put you in front of their audience, because you're getting more benefit out of it than they are. So you do need to be considerate of the fact that you might want to find someone who's just a little bit further ahead. Maybe if you have 500, they have 1,000, that kind of thing. But you do want to be reaching out and getting onto those joint Facebook Lives, because the other thing that I've noticed is that a Facebook Live with a couple of people, as opposed to just one person speaking, tends to get more interaction.
Yeah, exactly. At the end of the day, it's more engaging content. It's part of the reason why I came in and joined our show. Not that it's an interview, but just because a back and forth is a lot more easy and to engage, and typically comes with a lot more content and value than just someone sort of talking to you, the camera, to the audience as
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a conversation. Again, they can feel like part of the conversation.
Exactly.
Now, the other thing is getting more in person is you can actually go and be networking at networking events and directing people to your Facebook page as well. So, I think a lot of people would be familiar nowadays with meetups, and there are so many great business-centric meetups in all areas. I've struggled, unless you're super remote, if you're at any of the big centres, you'll find a business-related meetup. But I'd also suggest trying to find meetups, again, where your ideal customers are hanging out. And going, because and there's so many great benefits to being at a meetup and connecting with people. You're going to better understand your audience. You can have one-on-one conversations and ask questions about how they want to work with businesses like your own. Obviously, not being super forward, but as in a market research kind of sense. That are really going to help you craft what you're going to do on your page, what you're going to do with your business, how you're going to market in general, what offers you're going to put together.
Yeah, exactly. So what are some of the other groups that we can leverage to, or other places to go to find these networking events?
I think, again, it's going to be very specific to your industry and where your ideal customers are going to show up. But I also think that there's just great value in actually going and being with other business people and getting new ideas and that kind of thing. So the ones that we've identified are, I know this is a thing in Australia, and I'm not totally sure if this is a thing everywhere.
What it translates to.
But the Chamber of Commerce is a group that you can often get involved with. I think you may have to pay a membership fee, I'm not totally sure, but if you go and become a member of the Chamber of Commerce in your local area, whether it be your suburb or your town or wherever, they often host functions and bring business owners together and want to know how they can increase business for that area, which is really cool. Other types of groups are the BNI, which I think is Business Networking International.
Yeah.
And they, again, that's a bit of a different situation where I think you pay to become a member and then you become part of a referral system where you would be the only, say hairdresser on that BNI chapter. And then so anyone who's got hairdressing referrals would only go to you. So it's a little bit of a different setup, but again, another one that can be super helpful. And then there's also Toastmasters, which is like a public speaking opportunity, and it helps you build your skills around public speaking, but then also it has a great networking opportunity as well.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so the next one we can do is traditional promotion. So this is, like we touched on right at the start of this episode, offering things like discounts or incentives to follow the page. Things like business cards, put these notifications on menus, on printed collateral, posters, newsletters, that sort of thing as well, to again encourage people to come on board from that sort of one point of interaction to somewhere where you can continue to serve points of interaction and grow them into your ideal customers.
Absolutely. And I think like the thing that I saw on the weekend was a kebab shop that had one of those scrolling signs that has like words show up on it just in the front of their store, and they said follow us on Facebook, and there was like interact on Twitter, and they had their handles and all that kind of thing, which I thought great. Like,
yeah.
I don't know how many people they're getting out of it, but it's not harming anyone by having the information there. And if they've got that advertising tool,
yeah,
why not have an opportunity to direct them on Facebook? You know, you could even, I think it's about also the cleverness with the way you do it, like get exclusive discounts and promotions, follow us on Facebook. Like you can, you know, have, again, incentives to why people would do that.
Exactly.
And then the final thing is if you're generating any kind of email list, be sure too to be directing people to your Facebook page. And again, this doesn't have to be so obvious as, hey, follow us on Facebook, although I do think you should put that as well. But again, if you're running Facebook Lives or something, say, hey, we've got this Facebook Live coming up this week at this time on this day. Be sure to join us. You know, email us with any questions you'd like covered during it, all of that kind of thing. Really think about how you can utilise every avenue at your disposal to boost your Facebook page.
Yeah, exactly.
So, as we discussed, vanity metrics of likes are not what it's all about. It really is about reach and engagement of those likes that is going to make you know if your page is really converting, if you have your raving fans, and so that you're not having a bit of a mirror on the wall kind of situation. And now it's time to make it real, because we could go and talk all about this stuff about likes, and you could go and do nothing about your own page, and then what's it all been for? Nothing. So, to give you an actionable step, this week we want you to, and I know some people are going to roll their eyes because we've said it before and we're not the only ones to have said it, but it's time to go and get really clear on who your ideal customer is. And to help you out with this, we've created a handy inspiration worksheet that you can go and grab at www.bigpresentshow.com/inspire.
And that's all for episode 9 of the Small Business Big Presence Show.
Be sure to tune in next week when we're going to show you how to stop being a slave to your Facebook page, how to save your sanity, and get you out of notification hell.
Until then, keep creating big impact in your small business with your big presence.
Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
Remember, 62% of consumers use Facebook to help inform their buying decisions. Don't let your Facebook page stop one of your customers from investing in your small business. Get the lowdown on the 4-step system we teach our students to help transform their pages and turn presence into profit. And to be the first notified when we drop a new episode, be sure to subscribe to the show. Head on over to bigpresentshow.com/subscribe to get started.